Welcome back to Freedom to Learn podcast. My name is Gurumurthy Yeleswarapu, and founder and CEO of Siliconvalley4u. Um, Today, this podcast is, structured around many things and focus more mainly on investments and finance for youth to understand, or at least basics of finance to understand. And so, as always, this podcast is intended for youth to learn their priorities and understand, you know, um, understand the real world skills. I call it life skills from folks like this, and so that they can accelerate their careers. So, um, with that said, we have today Ravi Ramanujalu, a good friend of mine, and we meet regularly. We play pickleball. We work out together. We do a lot of things together. And he's been in the industry for 30 some years, and came from India to US, and just like most of us, he worked for a lot of enterprises in variety of roles, and most recently, he's with a very large healthcare company as an executive. And so he brings a lot of wisdom in terms of technologies as well as, in general about how to go about leading lives. So with that, I want to welcome Ravi. Welcome to our podcast.
Yeah. Thank you, Guru. Thank you for having me, and great to be part of this, podcast with you. And definitely, the main thing I always look forward is, as the life goes, we are here to share, learn, and grow. I think that's a thing that you are doing to all the young kids makes a lot of difference. And again, thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be part of this.
Yeah, likewise. So let's start with basics, right? Let's start with your childhood and how you ended up in US, and what prompted you to come here,
Sure.
and then we kind of take it from there.
Yeah. No, and before that, and I also appreciate the introduction. And you know, uh, as you are mentioning, right? My childhood, I was born and raised in India. I went to school, grew up in southern part of India, but I went to school in western part of India, and then I worked in different companies, in India, electronic operation of Tamil Nadu and all, and I went to work in Malaysia for a couple of years. Then I was in Canada for 4+ years. Then came to United States last 23, 24 years back. Uh, I'm in Silicon Valley last 22 years plus. But definitely, like everybody else, right? You grow up with certain things, and you want to be doing something in life, but that's how it drives you. My main thing is also very important is education, right? That has been continuous for me, right? One thing I would add is, even though I went to school in India, but even after coming here, when I was working, still I work full time, but I did my executive MBA also. So the education, continuous learning, always helps a lot. That's the one main thing I do. Continue to do it. Continuous learning and education in any form. Right now we have a lot of choices: YouTube, podcast. So many avenues that we can continue to do is the best way to uh, keep going.
Yeah, yeah. I'll touch base on that. Continuous learning is something that we strongly believe
Yep.
with our program as well. So now you see, you had your certain childhood, many years ago, decades ago. Now, your kids are in colleges and everything, and So, I always say this: there is a gap between, academics and real world, especially with the way things are evolving as we speak. World is moving, 1,000 miles per hour, and would you think? Do you think there is a gap? And if there is a gap, is there any way they can mitigate it?
Yeah, definitely there is always that gap between academics and the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
all been through that. I think the existing generation also goes through that. But the difference in what we were learning 30, 35 years back and now is the difference is they have access to a lot of technologies and tools in front of them, right? I think in your background you have YouTube. That's one of the best education tool. I use that all the time. If there's something you need to know, you can just either Google it or go to YouTube. You will just see it, right? Example, one day I was trying to restart my Tesla but screen. I didn't know, just YouTube that, that, right? So the point
Yeah.
is you have a lot of those tools available right now, so the kids, when they are in the schools or studying, they can get exposure to all of those. That makes a huge difference for them, right? That's very important. In your regular time, go to school and study and just understand the real world by navigating all these technologies available, right? Either podcast, YouTube, or get some internship work, right? So that you can learn from that, right? And then so that those are the ones which can start to give you some real world experiences. So when you come to the real world for work, you will have and even get a job, part-time job with pay, without pay. It doesn't matter anything, right? It really helps you. And also the other important skill when you come to the real world is social skills, right? Interacting with other humans. How do you understand others? Start practicing that emotional intelligence or understand that helps any person who comes from academics to real world, will start to adapt to that, right? That's very, very important. Dealing with
Yeah.
humans on a day-to-day basis is the key to your success, right? That's what I would say, Guru. Go ahead if there.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit right on. To be honest, one of those things that you mentioned is something is a big, huge topic to nowadays. The human side of things. That's what you're talking about. How emotional IQ or emotional Q. Especially with this generation, with all the social media and all the phones and whatnot, and they're more attached to the devices and maybe less attached to the humans, and ability to deal with situations, reading the room,
Yeah.
and having that quickness. These buzzwords are out there, and leadership, for instance, we say connect the dots, be a leader and all that. So, the important thing is, as a young first person who drowned into just taking care of academics and get decent grades and whatnot, all of a sudden, when you throw all these acronyms or words, word soup rather,
Yeah.
it's difficult to comprehend and say what that means. By the time they learn, if they do, it may take about 5 to 7 years, 10 years in some cases, even it's even more in some cases, and so that's a loss of good life. Just trying to figure out is one, that's the gap I was referring to. And but you are absolutely right that I always say to the folks, you have a system, you're in a system, you have to do well in that system. While you are doing it, it's your responsibility to figure out the rest of it.
Yeah.
There is no books or some of the things you mentioned. There is no book, there is no curriculum, there is no there is no nothing, and you just have to learn by doing. So like you said, internship is the best way to get in and deal with the situations where you end up fail quickly,
Yes.
and hopefully that gives you opportunity to learn. So now with I want to go into the next one, which is a nice segue. So there is one thing to understand the world, which is the primary thing for anybody, whether you are in college or school or outside, right? So understanding the world is very important, and also the priorities, right? What is important, right? Everybody's different. There, somebody's into music. So we both play sports. Somebody does something else. I mean, art, painting, whatever. Those are okay, but there are mandatory priorities must learn somehow. I strongly believe that schools don't emphasize enough. And there's a mandatory priorities. There are ancillary ones, like if you like, you do something, you do it, right? So can you talk about it now that, like I said, you have kids and you see, maybe you are mentoring them. So just can you give a overview of how one can figure out what really matters to them when as a human being, getting into this world.
Yeah. So my take is there are a few things, right? So you know, I know you kept talking about pickleball, like, that's one of the interesting one we do, right? Because you learn from that, right? So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
point is get out there and try, right? That's a whole thing, right? That's what the connection I really want to make it with pickleball, because you just go out and play, then you play with your friends and others the sports, then you know how to adjust and play with them, and also you're physically active, right? Those are the benefit you get out of that, right? Similar to that for any of the young kids, right? Keep trying something new, right? Just be active, of course, academically, what you can learn from your classes and other things, and also for physical one, just go to the regular workout schedule, gym, you like any sports to play or watch some sports, all those things are very important. Not only from those things, right? Even some of the finance perspective, I really want to talk about. Before I go into the finance ones, group, one thing I would like to share is I read this book called Do It Today recently, which is a very good book.
yeah,
I would recommend for the younger kids if they want to learn something, right? Because what it really tells in that book is do things consistently, right? Don't but you have to try. You can try 3 4 activities, and once you like one or two, just do it regularly, like how we play pickleball every week, like 4 5 days minimum, or at least 3 4 days minimum, right? That's how you will get better at it over the time, right? It's for any sports, any learning, anything you want to try, right? Anything you want to try big, that's a consistency is very important. This book, what it teaches you is you write down what you wanted. If you plan to do 8 or 10 items, plan it and see at the end of the day or next day, mark it how many are done, and then and see go to the next day. Don't stress yourself if you want to do all the 10 items you did not do it. It's okay. At least you made a progress of 4 or 5. Be happy with the progress always, right? Don't worry about that. You can't get everything done. It's sometimes some days are not possible. You have to let it go, but making a progress is the key thing, right? In all of these ones, that's how you want to practice. Take one or two, do it consistently. That gets you the best success over the time, right? And do it for longer time, and that's what is very important. So my take is learn and start practicing and get better at it over the time will help you a lot, right? So that's one thing. If you really want me to talk about a little bit on the finance, I can start, but if you have a follow-up questions, I hold it for now.
yeah. So let's get to that a little bit later. And very important detail, right? One of the priorities, in my opinion, is making our youth should understand basics of finance.
Yeah.
So before we get to that, right? So as they identify their priorities, right? So in other words, what is important, right? So some things I know you very well. So knowing, taking care of the family, right? Or keeping the family as the highest priority, followed by everything else. And then maybe, like you said, we play pickleball, we are physically active, and keeping the health, so to speak, as the higher priority than other things. So basically, you come up with all the different things that matters, and then try to understand. Like you said, there are so many tools out there to learn those things. But what we are hoping is this podcast gives them pointers to go what to look for. So once you look for those, it's there's so much abundance of information on in the internet. So you can sort of take what works best for you and then bring into it. But my question is, so let's say if I have all these priorities done, right? My family next is whatever, fitness, both mental, physical, and social circle, and friends, and then and let's rest are all sports depending on my interest, right? I like to dance, for instance. You like to dance, by the way, before I forget. So we like to dance, and then if those are all whatever, right? Those are come under general category. You have those, how it's going to change somebody's life in terms of everything, whether it's the academics, so-called success in the career, success in every which way. Just just talk about how potential these things can help, because I'll tell you why. Many times, when people are very young folks, when they hear some of these things, hey, you should run or you do this, do that, because things are okay for them for obvious reasons. They're young and energetic, metabolism is high and whatnot, and for as far as families, somebody else is taking care of all that for them, and they tend to ignore it. So that's the reason. What I'm trying to say is that if you follow that, it will give you benefits in the near future as well, not only in the far. Few people like, oh, let me turn. When I get old, I'll worry about all those. No, you should worry about now. Is what my message is. I want you to throw more light on it.
Absolutely, Guru. I think that's a good follow-up. The priorities, right? That is very important. I know few things you mentioned: family, health, fitness, friends, and your other career. So many things it comes, right? As you grow up, right? From your from the day you go to school and college, and then once you get into the real world, like all these things varies. My take is, I think it's very important. Your family and friend circle is very important because that's just gives you a lot of support system for you, right? You have a sense of belonging, right? You have someone whom you can always rely and depend on, so that it gives you a lot more secure feeling, right? Which is very important. Then once you have that family and friend circle, and then you can always, if you need help, you can always seek help, or if somebody else need help, then you can always provide that. It's both, right? And giving and receiving is very important as part of that, right? That's one. And then the other important thing is also, your health and fitness, right? You just have to be healthy, and try to keep yourself fit, in the way that you want it, right? And it is right for you. And then, enjoy that. And that is another important journey, because I know we all have realized in the later part of our careers, now we have taken those health and fitness very seriously, because if we would have taken it way back, that would have been still more better. But still, you take it early, it's always good for you, right? So very, very important, right? The health and
Yeah.
fitness. And then the other things are career, right? Career, or whatever you really love to do, right? My take is, career or anything, pursue your passion, right? What you like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and understand that, and then go start doing that. Will get you a lot more. If you like the thing you do, it is not stressful. If you don't like the things you do, then only it is stressful. That's exactly
Absolutely.
you.
You
If
got it. Yep.
you like the one, you do it. It just makes you feel better, do better, and do it right. For me also, you don't wake up, feeling, oh, do I need to work? No, no, wake up that you're going to enjoy work, right? You're going to enjoy what you're doing. That just sets you that, differently. So, and also the positive attitude towards anything, right? That's very, very important. You're not the You're not the only one. There are a lot of people, but you have your self-confidence and positive approach. A lot of things you can get it done. I think my take on that one is first family, friends, then your health, fitness, then your career and all the other things can go after that. That's where the priority, if you set it up, it just is so easy for you to do. And then, like you said, you can't leave family, for some time do, but just do this in this priority. It just makes you always good for you in the longer term. And that's what
Absolutely.
you
Like
see success from a lot of different people also. It's not only for Guru and Ravi to say this, but this works for so many of them, and that we see from.
general rule. Yeah, it's a general rule, not
And it
necessarily. Yeah.
also
So
it also works for us. We experience that, right? So
absolutely. Like as I was saying, like for instance, so somebody was saying, you succeed or you learn.
yeah,
There is no such thing as failure. The point is, you are going to run into issues regardless. No matter what, I heard somewhere that you always, if somebody thinks I'm not going to fail, they're dreaming. Everybody's going to fail at some point. So when you fail, everything you just talked about, family and support system, good physical health, mental health, and ability to think outside the box. For all these things, you need energy, right? That energy is going to translate to something that helps you, right? So essentially, in order to get that, you need all these, and you need all these, and you must practice this every day. It's not like, for instance, oh, I'm going to go once a month, I go and do some weights and then just move on. It doesn't work. So your meditation, if you are using meditation as a technique to condition your mind, you must do every day. If you are, your family's priority, you work on that every day. You make sure that you interact with your family members and whatnot. If all these priorities, it has to be part of your DNA. And then as needed, just they come handy. You don't even feel that. You're so transparent to for you to be able to succeed with everything that you built until the body of work, basically, until that point. And if you look at all the most bunch of them, rather, if you look at their success, meaning the achievement, accomplishment, if there is somebody's efficiency is so high, if you look at, and then you kind of reverse engineer it, and if you look at the ingredients, they fall in this category. If not all, they have some of them, and as a result, their focus level is extremely high compared to someone else. So that's why they are able to accomplish at that level. So with that, I'm going to focus now on something that you do really well, which is so-called investments and finance. So my take is that, as I said before, even if you have $1,000, it's very important to understand what to do with it. A lot of times people, I can speak for myself. Oh, when I make money, I think about investments. So I don't think you don't have to wait that long. So number one. Number two is basics of finance. The ones I knew when I got out of, or when I came to US, two principles. One is keep the money in the bank, don't spend it. So those are the only two principles I knew for a very long time. I didn't know what retirement is, 401k. I never logged in for many years. So, but yeah, I mean, just talk about those, generally the finance principles, financial literacy, whatever you call it, and then generally, and also investments. There is a risk involved. Some people think it's a risk. Some say, some people who invest, they say if you don't invest, you're risking yourself. So it's all depends on who you ask. So let's talk about it. Yeah.
absolutely. No, I think good segue into what we are talking, right? The finance, right? Uh, Like everything else we talked, family, health, fitness, career, everything is important. And on top of that, finance is another component to it, right? Looking at the personal finance is one of the key to your success over the time, right? Um, I think it's a day-to-day learning of that, over the time is very, very important, how you can do that. because it takes time. It takes time to learn it, right? How do you do it? Multiple ways, right? When you are, like you said, right? That's very important. First thing, when you're earning money, start saving some portion of it first. Then only you have money to invest, right? Once you save some money, then see how you can buy your own house or apartment, whatever is needed or whatever you can afford to do. Once you build that, then you come to know, how to pay your mortgages and do all those things you learn from that, right? Not only that, and also any other investments you can make, right? Real estate is one thing that you can learn and practice and do it over the time, and also finance market, right? A stock market, or investing your 401k wisely. Learn that from different people and different areas, right? And even crypto now, a lot of them talk about it. Just don't jump on immediately, but learn the basics. And also the other thing is, very important, is to buy a jewelry, and that is also an investment over the time, like gold, platinum, diamond, whatever you like, right? It's not like everything, but just do it in a, don't they, that's what they say, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Just split it up. If you have $1,000, what kind of split you wanted to do? Is it 10 different things you wanted to do with each 10%? Have some calculation and start doing it, right? And also, one more thing I would recommend is, there's a book called The Psychology of Money. I think
Yeah.
its author name is Morgan House. He really talks a lot about long-term investing, right? Try to
Yeah.
understand these concepts, right? So definitely that discipline is very important. You know, I know you are so humble enough to say that we all make different investments, but it's still, we are learners, right? We still continue to learn a lot of things, and also we also fail in few things, right? You also touched about that, right? I just want to mention one more thing about fail. Fail is not the end of it. It is a first attempt in learning, right? That's where you learn. Do not worry about that. If you fail in one thing, make it as your learning and not repeat it. Do something differently next time. That's how you need to do yourself. So again, doing the right thing in your personal finance, starting at your early careers in 20s, 30s, and 40s are going to help a lot, right? When you start to work, don't please make sure that you utilize your 401k from the day one you start to work. Why do you leave your tax dollars, back to the government? You just want to start saving from the day one you start working. Then only you will start to build your portfolio over the time. So in your overall earnings, put a separate percentage for your savings. There's a there's a saying, saving is an addiction. Once you get that addiction, it is good for you in the longer term. These addictions are the important ones to have, right?
Good ones to have. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a
Yeah.
good ones to have. These are the good addictions or triads that you want to build it, and then you can start to do it over the time. And don't try everything at the same time. Keep focusing 2 3 months one area, start to learn it, learn from experts, learn from your family, friends, whatever the circle or learn from the other tools. And then you will start to build your own portfolio over the time, right? That's what you wanted. And main important of any of these personal finances, have a goal. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, have a goal and measure yourself. That is important.
Yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
have a goal and keep measuring yourself over the time, will help you a lot. Like, to your point, Guru, in the beginning, either save it, don't do anything. But that's not what you wanted. But what you do is, with the money you save, how do I, grow my
Maximize.
grow my
Maximize. Yeah.
money? Don't think that
Yeah.
I want to multiply my money, what I have. If I have $1,000, I wanted $100,000 tomorrow. No, don't go for that. If I have $1,000, how
Yeah.
do I $10 out of it tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah.
You start building that over the time. Consistency matters a lot, and also being aware of the market situation and other factors will make you grow, because as you do this on a day in and out, you will learn a lot over the years. So my take is, have a goal, measure yourself, start working towards every year. And I would say, as the younger generations are coming up, in the year beginning, as we are going to approach the year in a month, have your goals set at the beginning of the year. I do that, 6 or 7
Yeah,
goals. That set that goals and make finance as one of the goal, and try to see what you can learn in that year, and try to see how you do it over the time. And that's what I would mention, Guru.
fantastic. So actually, I want to add one small thing. Everything you said makes a lot of sense. One thing I like to add is when you said, have a goal. Like that's what I'm giving a very one layer above big picture. So generally people talk about financial freedom, right? That's the goal. Ultimately, the goal is if you have financial freedom, so then hopefully you do other things that matters to you most. So in order to get the financial freedom, you need to understand what that means. Meaning, like you can have any amount of money and think that I need a little bit more. So long story short, having that lifestyle, what lifestyle you want to lead at the end of the day, have some clarity. And even if that is, hey, I want to live in Hollywood or whatever, yeah, have the clarity and I aim for that. I'm not going to sit here and say don't do it. But while you are doing it, make sure you are doing with keeping all the priorities intact, not just just at what cost. So if everything else is falling apart, and then I'm just saying, and then you got all this, and then sometimes it may not be a good outcome.
Yeah.
And so having, like you said, family, everything, and while you're able to get all those intact, and you're able to get into that Hollywood lifestyle, perfect, do it, go, you go for it. So that's so if you have that kind of balance, and then the ability to navigate that balance day to day and over a period of time, then they call it matured, and somebody has a head on the shoulders, yada yada, all these different buzzwords out there. And or if you don't have it, then obviously they say he's fairly immature and this that. So I guess the back in my time, at least our time rather, and there is no way to figure these things out. Now there is so many tools, and on top of that, I always recommend people to find a mentor. So, for
Yes.
instance, somebody like you can mentor young folks if they want to know what is investment means, right? Basics to. It's not about teaching; it's about helping them to understand, and also talk to them on regular basis. I always recommend to have a mentor. You also should mentor someone else. In other words, you should be mentee and mentor at the same time. So
Yeah.
that's what we call it, continuous learning. You mentioned that earlier. So I always learn continuous learning. This is what we meant. We in our Siliconvalley4u, we use the word continuous learning. A lot of our students are mentors now, but they're also being mentored as they're being mentoring other folks. So that ability to grasp and learn new things and funnel through you to the younger generation, and also have the humbleness to reach out to the folks and then learn from them. So we arrange the we arrange both. So that becomes a pipeline, and so that way all the rough edges, like some of the things we talked
Yeah.
about,
Mhm.
will be cleared. Because I'll give you a few examples. Sorry, I'll take only 10 seconds because I'm very passionate about that particular topic. A lot of times people tend to be negative about certain things. Let's say I go to this college, this professor is not that great, or blah blah, or something. There is a tendency because of you somebody told you, or you just heard of some bad things, and you just go with it because you're a young fellow. You're not able to comprehend, right? You don't know what's going on. What I usually do in our program is when you become that, meaning like you are attending this, you are saying your professor is bad. by the way, you have to mentor this guy. I am paying you. I'm paying you to, that's one of our internships. I'm going to pay you. You mentor this guy.
Yeah.
If he comes back and say, you're not doing well, I don't care what university you came from, what certificates you had. It doesn't matter. As you go back and make sure that he's happy, your
Yeah.
customer is happy. So when that happens, when tables turn, use that instant humbleness.
Yes.
I mean, I've been saying all these negative things. Now I know what it takes to get it done. So yeah, so that's why some of the things you mentioned is that continuous learning is one thing that's very crucial for everybody. Like you said, we all learn continuously. You read books, which
Yeah.
is the other way to do it, and
Yeah, it's important, right? Guru, to your point, right? Continuous learning is key. And then what the vision you're taken to, help through the Silicon Valley for you is very important, right? Like, to help the kids with the right mentors and mentees, right?
yeah,
That's what you guys are doing. It is very important, right? Because uh, mentor and mentee is important. You have to be a mentee to learn some of the things. Once you know something, be volunteer to mentor others once you know
yeah,
some of the areas. But it is not that you know that perfectly well, no, but as part of the mentoring process, also you learn from each other, right? That's a journey, right? Because life is like a learning journey, right? That's how it helps you, right? You learn this in a continuous way, and for everything, right? Even for your within your family, friends, you will have some mentors. You can mentee someone, and even your career growth, your finance area, your health and fitness. You know, we even same with me. I learn a lot from you, and then we always talk about a lot of different things with each other, right? That's how it works. It is
yep,
basically, if you really want to, be happy and enjoy your life, learn, share, and grow. That's the best way to do it.
absolutely. I think that's the best way to
Yeah,
wrap this up.
yeah,
Learn, share, and grow. Perfect. And I think I you can say that's also part of continuous learning.
yes.
So with that, I'm gonna leave with one question, and so I usually ask, what is the piece of technology that you wish you had? I can give a few examples. Like can be like
Yeah,
any fantasy
yeah.
type thing. For instance, for me, if I had a aeroplane that takes me to India in an hour, so I mean, maybe Ram also I appreciate that. So I would have really appreciated, but anything that comes to your mind that could potentially help you with your day-to-day life or stuff in general.
I love, like I said, right? We all love technology. We all love
Yeah,
this what is out there. I love the autonomous vehicles that it is out there, like Teslas and other things. But what I really wanted the technology to come in, right? You come out of your home, you don't need to worry about driving stress. You get in the car drives on its own. That's a day I'm looking forward to it, because
yeah,
it
I know.
needs it
For you.
needs to take you anywhere you want it, because the advantage of that is you don't need to worry about your driving. And then the second thing is, as you're driving, the timing becomes productive for you to use that own time. You can do what you wanted to do and get things done, right? So that's the way I'm looking at, the technology would enable us to be more productive is the key, right? That's what we need. So you come out of the home, the car can drive you wherever you wanted. That's the day I'm looking forward. Okay. Hope that
I
answers.
think I think I know the inside jokes, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
So Ravi, this is great. I hope kids can take advantage of all the content you shared. I really appreciate your time, and so I look forward to having maybe another sequel sometime next year, maybe focusing more about investments or and things of that nature. So thanks again, and I really appreciate. And then, hey, all the audiences, please press on the like button and subscribe to our channel. You get a lot of content your way.
No,
Thank you.
thank you, Guru. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, talking with you. And like you said, let the if the kids learn from these things, that's what we need, and our job is done, right? So, and thank you for your,
Absolutely.
the vision you are trying to help all the kids. Best wishes for you. I know
Thank
you're
you.
doing really well. Continue that. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Ravi. Yeah.